Let's talk about IP addresses. An IP address is made up of 32 bits. Those 32 bits are divided into 4 sections of 8 bits called octets. IP addresses are divided into 5 categories or classes: Class A, Class B, Class C, Class D, and Class E. Each class has a unique range of addresses. In order to determine the class of the address, you look in the first octet of the address. Let's take a look at the ranges now. Class A addresses will begin with numbers 1 through 126 in the first octet. 128 through 191 in the first octet will be Class B addresses. 192 through 223 are Class C, and then 224 through 239 will be D. Class D is reserved for multicast addresses, and then Class E would be reserved for specific research addresses. We're going to focus our attention on classes A, B, and C. With each one of these ranges of addresses, there is a corresponding mask or default mask. The purpose of the mask is to differentiate between which bits are network and which bits are host, as we see here. The 255 here indicates that all of the bits are on in that portion of the mask. Note, in order to arrive at 255, we add up all of these bits. We turn on all of these bits with ones instead of zeros. You could either have a 1 or a 0 in each bit placement. Notice the bit placements here, the headers 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, and 1. If you add all of these bits together, add all of those headers together, you would get the number 255. So 255 indicates all ones, and then 0 indicates all zeros there in that particular octet. So the Class A mask is an 8-bit mask, 255000. Class B has a 16-bit mask. Class C has a 24-bit mask. With the Class A address here, the mask being 8 bits, that indicates that the first 8 bits in the network address, the first 8 bits in an IP address, those corresponding bits would be network bits. The remaining 24 would be left over for host bits. In a Class B, the first 16 are network, the final 16 are host bits. And then you have 24 network bits with Class C and 8 bits for host addresses in a Class C. Note, over here, we skipped a number right here. We've got 1 through 126, and then we go right to 128. The 127 is reserved for loopback testing. This is for testing your TCP/IP protocol configuration on a particular device. If you ping 127.0.0.1 or any IP address that starts with 127, if you ping that address, you're actually pinging from the device that you're on, you're pinging back to that device. That's the loopback address used for testing TCP/IP configuration. Other special addresses or private addresses would include the 10 range, which is the Class A set of private addresses, 172.16 up through 172.31 range for Class B, and then for Class C you have a private range of 192.168. Whatever you fill in here, .0. That's the private range for Class C. These private addresses are used inside a company's network, and they're not valid addresses out on the internet. So keep in mind, IP addresses are divided into 5 classes: A, B, C, D, and E. For our purposes, we'll be focusing on classes A, Class B, and Class C. Each class has its own default mask, which indicates which portion is network and which portion would be the host address.